Hello and welcome to my channel. Alright, so what we're going to be doing today is two things actually. I was just going to do my foundation routine for oily skin, but then I decided to throw the contouring and highlighting in it just because that is part of my routine. So what I did is this. This is my face and I hope you enjoy my video, and if you want to see how I did it, please keep watching. Thank you. Alright, first what you're going to want to do, and this is like the top beauty secret for oily skin, is you're going to want to prime your skin with milk of magnesia. And this bottle I got at Walmart for like $4. It's really inexpensive. All you do is you shake it up and then you apply like a nice even coat all over your face, and that helps soak up, absorb all the oils on your face before you put it on your foundation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my brush, my foundation brush, like this. I'm going to dip it in here and then apply it all over my face, just like this. And I apologize, my face broke out last night and it just had to be like this while I was recording, so I apologize. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is you evenly spread it all over your face. And if you have an oily just T-zone, I would try to just focus like right here and right here. But since I have an oily face all over, I tend to apply it all over my face just to get an even coverage and an even matte finish. So let's keep applying it all over. And it's okay if you see kind of like a chalky, very thin, kind of weird layer. Once you put the foundation on, it'll completely cover it. There won't be any weird coloring going on, nothing. It'll just be completely hidden. Alright, I think I got my whole face covered. Alright, now the next thing you're going to want to do is get your foundation. And I use Revlon's Color Stay in, let's see, number 240 medium beige. That's my color. And I love this. Out of everything that I've used, this is my #1 favorite. I love it. And then I use that with a blending brush or blending sponge. I know it's really dirty, but I have a really hard time cleaning it out. I've tried every different method and it always leaves like a stain on it, but it still works. Alright, so what I do is I apply my foundation onto the sponge, and I use the big part first because that gets large areas really quickly. So put that on there, and then you kind of pat it on there. Whoops, get my hair out of the way. Alright. And I pat it on for an even coverage at first. I do that all the way around my face, and then I go ahead and blend so I can get rid of all my pores and all the blemishes, and then I have a very even coverage. And then I go in with the small tip after I'm done with this, and then do the small parts, but we'll get to that in just a second. So I keep applying my foundation just like this all the way around my face. It's a little time consuming, but I am a big perfectionist, so I apologize. Alright. Let's get a little bit more on the sponge. Alright. And I don't use brushes at all to apply my foundation, just because I feel that because I have acne and pores and, you know, real uneven skin, that the brushes tend to streak on my face a lot, and I don't like that at all. And I like using sponges like these sponges and these wedge sponges. These are my favorite. These are my go-to tools for face. Definitely. I mean, to each his own, but sponges are my thing. Alright, now once we've finished with getting it on, then like I said, you take this small edge and you really get into like these small areas that's a little harder to get with the big side, and then you get a very even tone all the way around. So I'm going to get this underneath of my eyes, just like that, and you can always put more on if there's not enough. And we'll perfect it even more when we get to the highlight part. But just for now, to get a very even coverage, we're just going to go in with the normal foundation and get all these small areas in. Just like that. And around my eyebrows, because I don't want to mess my eyebrows up. They took me forever to do, so I don't want to mess them up. Alright. And sometimes I do an extra layer depending on how broken out my skin is. With the Color Stay, it's kind of hard to build just because it's very thick. It's full coverage, and it's harder to blend because it makes it look more patchy, or it just doesn't, it makes it look cakey. I don't know. So it's up to you if you want to do 1 or 2 layers. I tend to do another layer, but not a full layer. I just go back where my breakouts are or whatever. So that's what I'm going to do, just considering that today had to be the day that I had to break out. But I just go back in with my sponge and do another thin layer just to get all those covered up. So now that I have my foundation down, I'm going to show you guys how I contour before I put my powder on. I just do, I use the Maybelline Fit Me stick, and it looks like this, and it has an anti-shine core. And I used to use another foundation to kind of get my contours in, but I noticed that those parts got oily a lot faster, and this definitely does not get oily, and I love this. So what I do is I apply it right here, right underneath my cheekbone, just like that. I know it's really dark, but we'll blend it out and we'll make it look a lot better. So you get that right there, and you do the same on this side. Just like that. Make sure it's even. I would suggest not bringing it down any farther than that, because when you blend it out, it'll blend down more, and you don't want it to look like you have like a puppet face. That's weird. Alright, and then what I do is I dot very lightly all the way around here, because a little goes a long way. Go right here along my hairline, all the way around, just like that. See, like that. And then what I do is I take this, like just the edge right here, and I apply it like that, very carefully so you don't get it too far down. And then I do the same on the other side with the edge. I bring it down like that. Just like that. I know it looks weird, but we'll blend it out, we'll make it look good. Alright, so that's what I do. And I see a lot of people who contour down here. I don't do that just because I have like a small round face, and if I contoured this, it would make my face look even smaller, so I don't do that. I just tend to make my face look longer so it appears thinner. Alright, so then what you're going to want to do is I take my wedge sponge and I do blotting motions. Bring it down and keep patting, see? as you can see, it's already blending into the foundation that we applied, and it gets lighter so it doesn't look as weird. And you just keep doing that. And also when we apply the powder, it'll get a lot lighter as well, so that it doesn't look extremely dramatic. But that's what I do. I blend it out so it's a nice, you can tell where it is, and it gives it a nice crisp line, but it is blended so it's not harsh. So that's what you want to do. And you do that on the other side as well. Alright, and then we go in with our nose and blend that out as well. Gotta be kind of careful because you don't want to drag it out too much. Alright, just fix this up just a little bit more so it's a little smoother. Alright, now do I look crazy? The next thing you want to do is highlight. And what I do is I use the Revlon Color Stay Under Eye Concealer in light or pale. And it looks like this, and it's got like a little sponge tip, and you just do that. And the product comes out. And what I do with this is I bring it down like this. Bring it over like this. And then I fill in that upside down V, just like that. Just like that. And then I do the same thing on this side. I bring it down and out. And fill that in. Kind of reminds me of wings. I don't know, that's just me. Alright, so you do that. And before I blend that in, what I do is I highlight all the places I want to, just like I did with the contouring. So then, what else I want to highlight is my nose, right here. I bring it up, and then I make another V right here. And then I fill this in, just right here, just in this part. Because this, when I blend it out, will go into my foundation, which will blend right into my contouring. So it'll make it perfect definition. And then I do my Cupid's bow, right here. And my chin, just a little bit. And a little definitely goes a long way, which is what I love about these products. You don't have to use much to get great results. So then what I do is I take that blending sponge that I used before, I use this tip, and then I go and just blend everything out, just like what we did with the contouring. I just blend it all out. Just like that, so it's nice and blended. Do the same with everything else, you just blend and blend and blend. So I finished blending everything out, so it looks like this. It still looks kind of weird, but we're going to apply the powder, and that'll kind of get things a little bit more blended out and nice and smooth. So what I use is the Revlon Color Stay, and this is in light. And one thing you want to remember about powder is when you're picking out powder, unless it's translucent like this stuff where it's not going to show up, always think that the color you see right here will be about one shade darker on your skin. So if I got medium, like my foundation is, it would make my skin look a lot darker than it really is. Just because the powder, I don't know why it does that, it just makes it one shade darker. So I get light so that I get a medium color finish. So then what I do with this, and I recently learned that you should never use a powder brush when you're applying powder unless you know how to use it. So what I do is I use the applicator that they give me, which is like a little flat sponge thing, and I take it and I pat all this on here. And the reason why you don't want to use a powder brush is because a powder brush, it's designed to flick away the excess powder. So what you're doing when you're, you know, applying your powder like this, you don't want to do that because you're flicking away your powder plus you're moving your foundation. So yeah, that's why I use these things. So what you do is you just go in here and get a nice even coverage everywhere. And see what it did? It just kind of made it a lot softer, like blurred, and a lot nicer than this. So we're just gonna keep going. Get everything covered up here. And I personally like a very full coverage look. Some people don't. Some people like a natural, like sheer look. I don't, because of the way my skin is and that how I have bad breakouts and pores and everything. I like a very full coverage face, but that's just me. That's how I like my makeup. Everybody has their own way of doing it, so you know, but this is just my way of doing it. So I keep going, keep filling everything in. And I have to be extra careful around here because for some reason, especially when I'm in a rush, I tend to just, you know, stamp it on there, and I end up stamping my eyebrow and then stamping my eyebrow somewhere else on my face. So I have to be extra careful around here just because I have a tendency to be an airhead sometimes. Alright, and then I used my Real Techniques, I can't talk today, buffing brush, just to kind of set it a little bit more. Never do this, like I said, never do that. Just pat it in there, kind of like you were patting with this thing. And you just keep doing that, and that'll sweep away the excess powder that will make it look cakey. And it'll just give you a better, more blurred airbrush look. Just like that. Alright. So then what I do is I take this brush, and I think I got this from Walmart. It's Image Essentials, and it's a powder bronzer brush. But I use it as a blush brush because it's nice and fluffy and it gives me a really good blush application. I don't like a thick, small blush line. I like it more filled out but a lot smoother. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to take my Physicians Formula. This is extremely beat up, but it's my favorite. I don't know the name of it, but I use this every day. Every single day I use this. So that's why it's so beat up. So then I just take that and then I pat it along my jawline right here, just very lightly. And I smile. Get the apple of my cheeks right here. Just very lightly. And you want to build your blush. You don't want to just go in and, you know, because then you're going to look like really bad. So you want to build it so you get a nice pigmented color, but not too harsh and bad. So then you just get it all blended in. There we go. Just like that. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Just like this. Alright. Just like that. So you get a nice, pretty pink color, but it's not too overwhelming. Just like that. Alright, see? Alright, so then what I do next to just bring out, hi sweetie, to just bring out the contouring a little bit more, I use my BH Cosmetics 10 color palette, and it's Professional Blush. Alright, and this is what it looks like. Just like that. And I use this one. This is my go-to color for powder contouring and all that. So then I use that. Hi Selena. And I use my contour brush from Real Techniques. These are my favorite brushes because they're very good and they are very affordable. I love these. So then what I do is I take it on one side because you can see how like it goes like that. You put it on one side so it has a nice like edge to it. And you apply it very lightly because a little goes a long way. And you just pat it right here just to bring the contour out just a little bit more than it was before. You do the same thing on this side, just like that. And then you just do it very lightly where we contoured right here. And also what I do is I put it on one side just like this, but then I squeeze it like this so that I can get it on the side of my nose. So I just squeeze and then very carefully apply it to the sides of my nose. Just because I don't want to just go all out and do it because then I'm going to get it down here and that doesn't look good. So do the same thing on this side. Just like that. Alright. Just like that. Alright, so you see what it looks like now? Okay, and then the next step that I do is to set everything. And I use two products to do that. The first thing that I do is I use MAC's Prep and Prime Translucent Finishing Powder. And this stuff is amazing. It is, oh my goodness. I don't know what I did before I had this. This is great. So what I do is I use my brush that I got from Ulta. It was like in the holiday collection. And I apply it to, there's a rabbit by my foot. And I apply it very lightly onto my brush. And then what I do, and what I learned from one of my really good friends who's also a makeup artist, instead of doing that and fluffing it off, what I do is I dip it in there and I tap the bottom so it goes into the brush. So you're using pretty much all the product you put on your brush. So what you do after you do that is you tap, 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 and then blend it in. And that's what gives you a very nice, flawless finish. It's beautiful. I love it. My hair is getting everywhere. Alright, so that's what I do. And that's the first step in finishing it up. Alright. And then the second thing that I do, and you see it in my other videos, is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. I love this. Usually if I have a really oily day, I'll spray it on before I even put any makeup on. And then I spray it afterwards. But right now, today's a good day, not too much oil, so I'm just going to do it afterwards. So this just finishes the whole face off. So what you do, you just shake it up, and then you do a cross, and then an X, like that. So you go just like that. Dry it off a little bit, and that will set your makeup and keep it oil free it'll feel like a freshener also. Like, say if you need a freshener, you just spray this, I don't know, like 5 hours after you do your makeup, and it'll just freshen your face up. I love it. I love the feel. I love the smell. It's amazing. I love it. So that's what I do to apply my foundation for oily skin, and that's how I highlight and I contour. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.